In today's video, I'm currently in Vietnam and I'm going to be flying from Saigon up to the country's capital, Hanoi. I'm going to be flying with Vietjet Air on their A330 for the 2-hour flight north. But if you caught my last video, arriving into Saigon, things weren't exactly how I hoped.
This rubbish isn't even gone from the last guest, and I pretty much had to clean the toilet myself when I got here.
So we jump into today's video where I've just spent my first night in Saigon after arriving from Bali the previous afternoon.
Okay, good morning. It's funny, usually, well, at least I feel like I'm not someone who's usually too much of a complainer. I'm pretty easygoing, especially when it comes to hotels and things. But yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a part of travel, isn't it? I mean, it's not always going to be thumbs up, happy faces, etc. Yeah, this is just not the place to be in a hotel. I mean, I'm right near I sort of knew where I was going to be going, as in, I knew the area was near a place called Boi Vin Walking Street, which is known for a party district, but I still feel like I'm a good over 150, 200 meters away. But even on the alleyways I'm on, they're extremely loud. 1, 2 in the morning, live music. It is the weekend as well, I understand that, so no complaints there. And it still doze off, that's okay. And then I think once that finishes, about 4 o'clock, people are getting up ready, whether they're going off to work in markets or anything, or whatever their job is, they're getting up early. So maybe 4 hours sleep last night. But aside from that, I think the aircon couldn't turn off, so it got pretty cold last night. Couldn't turn off, spent about 15 minutes trying to work out the remote. I think the battery's just dead. And there's blood on my pillow. And it's definitely not mine. We'll prosper on. I need to go try and find an adapter because my PowerPoint's, my adapter that I bring over from Bali doesn't seem to be working here. I'm gonna go try and find one of those, and fingers crossed I can actually charge my phone. So thankfully I've managed to sort out my PowerPoint issue, and I've picked up myself some adapters for while I'm here in Vietnam. So I can use my laptop and I can charge my phone now. So my spirits are improving, feeling a little bit better. But I have decided to leave this hotel, which I will this afternoon. And partly because of the noise. I think everything else is fixed here. I can deal with that, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, my flight tomorrow is at 7:55 in the morning. It's a half-hour drive to get there, so I'm just going to stay at a hotel right across from the airport. I also have a reward night with hotels.com, so I've only pretty much had to pay $16 in taxes for that one. So yeah, I'll move on there this afternoon.
To provide a little more context, we'll be flying with Vietjet tomorrow morning, but I wanted to show that it's not all smooth sailing on these trips. Now, this is actually the first time I've decided to change hotels when on a trip. Usually I just put up with whatever the circumstances are, but after having the last few nights with minimal sleep, I just wasn't in the zone to really enjoy Saigon, and I felt I needed a place out of the city and close to the airport. So thankfully the Ibis Saigon Airport Hotel is right across the road, and it's actually much nicer than the Ibis Airport hotels in Australia. Later that evening, I went out for a few drinks in a local bar and also checked out the area near the hotel. At this point, I should also add, I'd received 4 different flight time changes before tomorrow's flight, all within 24 hours of departure. However, thankfully, the last change was for a later time, so I'll get some more rest before the transfer bus arrives in the morning.
So the time is currently about just before 7:30. I have a shuttle bus to get myself over to the domestic airport so I can catch the Vietjet Airlines. New airline for myself. I'm flying from here in Saigon up to Hanoi, and I've had about 4 flight changes in the last 24 hours. The most recent one says we're leaving at 9:35. It's just about almost 7:30 now. Fingers crossed that's still the same. I'm gonna find out when I get to the airport, I guess, and check in. But yeah, I'm happy it changed because it was brought from 7:55 back to 7, and then it gave me an extra, well, a couple hours sleep. So fingers crossed, everything's all good there because it did change a lot. But anyways, I've got to get myself downstairs. I have a shuttle bus to catch. So let's get ourselves to Hanoi.
The shuttle bus was on time and only a 10-minute drive to the domestic departures terminal. There was a slightly different security process to what I'm used to in Australian airports, which I think I've only ever done in America. But overall, the airport wasn't busy and it was a quick and easy process through to the gate.
Okay, so I'm just outside the boarding lounge, which is back in through there. Just picked myself up a water. Thankfully I went to a couple of places. The first one was saying that it was a minimum spend of 100,000 Vietnamese dong. This one set me back for about 30,000, which I think is roughly about $2 Australian. Much better than the Aussie prices, right? But I am looking forward to this flight.
At this point, I still had another hour before boarding, when I noticed on my ticket the seat number was different to the one I selected online, which is originally an A320 and a window seat. So because we have an aircraft change to an A330 today, they had me on an aisle seat, so I'll be sure to ask cabin crew if I can be moved to a window if it's available. After the usual free-for-all with boarding, I made my way to the aisle seat 10D, where I managed to flag down a cabin crew member to see if it's possible to have a window seat how I originally selected online. The friendly cabin crew member advised me they'll check and come back to me. So in the meantime, I assessed the seats on board and was happy with the level of comfort. Online, the dimensions are listed as 31 inches of pitch, 16 inches of width, and 3 inches of recline. The width does sound rather tight, however I didn't feel that this was of any issue to myself. So thankfully the cabin crew member came back and moved me to 17A, which has also given me a whole lot more extra leg room, and because the flight is only at 40 to 50% capacity, I have the whole row to myself. The flight distance from Saigon to Hanoi is 1,138 kilometers, which we'll cover over the next 2 hours. Lots of tourists like to rent motorbikes and ride between the two cities, which covers a larger distance of 1,700 kilometers by road, which will be interesting and fun, but due to time constraints and my love for flying, I'm happy being in the air today. Cabin crew started to make their way around with snacks plus small meals. I was pretty keen on something small to eat and a water, however they asked me if I had cash, to which I only had bank cards at this time. From here, the cabin crew member took my card, walked away and left me with my water and snacks, however she came back and said sorry, they cannot accept card, only cash, which I found strange as usually it's the other way around in most cases, which is disappointing, so it looks like I'll have to wait until Hanoi. I noticed in the safety instructions prior to takeoff and during the flight, there was a large emphasis on not smoking in the toilets, and I can definitely see some on-edge blokes hanging for a durry. But one thing that always gets me wherever I am is the old feet up technique, this time poking through the seats. Feet man did try putting one foot up where my elbow is, but as you can imagine, good luck with that. I just wish they taught plane etiquette during or maybe after the safety instructions. This isn't your lounge at home. But thankfully this passenger practices good hygiene and I didn't have to turn around and give him the evil eyes. But to be honest, it's somewhat expected in these parts of the world. Even when we were taxiing to the runway, the passenger behind me was taking a call. It's definitely different to my usual settings. So unfortunately, I've just realised that I've left my AirPods at the Ibis Hotel. I actually bought these 2 weeks ago because I lost the other pair. I'll try email the hotel or give them a call once in Hanoi. overall I'm happy with the cabin crew allowing me to change to a window seat. It would have been nice to buy a water and a snack to tide me over until Hanoi, but on a positive note, I'm glad I got the extra legroom. Just one thing to note, there isn't any in-flight entertainment on this aircraft. However, for a short flight like this, it really doesn't bother me. For today's flight with Vietjet Air, I paid 128 Australian dollars and I booked the flight 2 weeks prior, so it could be possible to find cheaper airfares. I wouldn't mind trying the Vietjet Air Skyboss seats in the future, but at this stage, I'm in no rush. After arriving into a very wet Hanoi, I ordered myself a grab ride and took the 1 hour drive into the old quarter where I'll be staying for the next 3 nights.
Okay guys, well we have made it here to Hanoi. But yeah, today's flight on Vietjet, not too bad, not too bad. I was pretty happy that I could change my seat and get myself over to a window. A little bit surprised that I couldn't pay for, pay for the snack and the drink with a card. You need to pay cash. It's usually not always, well, it's always the case, usually in most other flights where you need a card. They don't take cash. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good flight. Would I fly with them again? Yes. I actually have a flight booked with them in about maybe a week's time. I'm flying from Saigon over to Chiang Mai, and I'm really looking forward to that one. But that should be on the A320 or the A321s. I'm not too sure what they use for the smaller ones. But yeah, overall a good day, a good flight up to Hanoi here. Looking forward to checking this place out, which you guys will see in this next video, 3 nights in Hanoi. But until then, thank you very much for watching this one. If you've watched it this far, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you'd like this kind of content, hit that like button if you can, it really helps the videos. So anyways, once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one when we go check out Hanoi. Until then, all the best. Catch you later.